The new toy is probably my favorite Wander Over Yonder episode so far. Why I like this particular episode is because of the ridiculous, over-the-top, live-action H.A.T.E.R.V commercial, if not the H.A.T.E.R.V itself. Everything about the parody commercial captured how corny and pandering classic boy toy commercials were.
And yet another misguided vie for Dominator's affections, H.A.T.E.R builds the ultimate attack, recreational, and babe magnet vehicle. The design is highly toyetic. The live-action skit pulls from 1980s and 90s boy toy commercials.
In a nutshell, these commercials contain the following in some form or respect. There's kids playing with and commenting about the toy, a dramatic narrator, some reference to how tough and awesome the toy car is, a laundry list of cool features and add-ons, usually some kind of tiny button or a transforming mode that drove parents nuts with how needlessly complex some can get.
Toy commercials played up and emphasized a very specific early version of masculinity. Muscle-bound action figures, huge tanks or vehicles outfitted with weapons, how destructive, aggressive, or gross everything is. Boys are supposed to be rough, dirty, and take charge. Boys will become the men that are supposed to build, protect, and defend society itself.
H.A.T.E.R.'s take on the commercial contained all of these, but added the twist of being narrated by an incredibly childish, lovesick villain. He's thoroughly convinced that Dominator would be impressed to the point of swooning and melting into a pile of silly putty. The H.A.T.E.R.V is a display of power, prestige, and masculinity. So, it's the essential three elements for a stereotypical boy toy commercial, but repackaged and applied to an adult man.
The H.A.T.E.R.V commercial repurposes this framing for a man-child's fantasies about a damsel in distress. While Dominator is wearing the macho armor, the helmet is deliberately misplaced. H.A.T.E.R gives her a very high-pitched voice, poses and directs her action figure as far more helpless and docile. H.A.T.E.R play acts his absurd fantasy in the same sandbox a young boy has a soldier ride dinosaurs. One version is a toy seller manipulating and playing into specific visions of what a manly man is to sell toys. H.A.T.E.R.'s version is an immature man making a commercial tailor-made towards his interests and dreams.
Girls like cool cars comes into the equation. The very idea that leads teenage boys and young men alike to go bankrupt over, or rent if they're a smart cookie, a high-end luxury car in the hopes that it increases how attractive or overall desirable they are. Looks like H.A.T.E.R.'s still studying notes he took from Emperor Awesome.
The beauty of the H.A.T.E.R.V comes in when someone thinks about what high-end luxury cars are for rich men. Cars can be the ultimate toys. The more flashy, expensive, and specific brand name it is, the more esteemed a status symbol. A luxury car reflects a wealthy, powerful, successful man. H.A.T.E.R.'s toyetic vehicle is commentary on just how comparable a grown man's luxury car is to a little boy's prized RC car. Both can be empty attempts at trying to impress others. It's a way to compensate for low confidence and self-esteem. The boy or the man by themselves aren't enough. They need the materialistic splash to puff up as something greater than they see themselves as. Granted, the H.A.T.E.R.V is a very specific ploy to impress Lord Dominator. H.A.T.E.R is taking notes from seedy pickup artists and con men that claim women flock to something like cool cars, that it's an effective form of peacocking as the image of a successful, in-demand, attractive man.
The real clincher of this parody commercial bit, though, is a disclaimer, especially the bit saying this is not a real toy. This will never be a real toy. So, it's not only a potshot to the classic cartoon model, but commentary on the network exec push for cartoons to include certain, possibly unnecessary elements to drive toy sales. Even if a certain character, vehicle, or element conflicts with the running plot thread or doesn't really jive with the show's tone, do it anyway, because it sells toys! But it doesn't end at unnecessary elements crammed in!
The H.A.T.E.R.V had plenty to say about those toy commercials too. There's a biting blurb at the end of the commercial that mentions, "This will never be a real toy." and not to attempt to create the RV yourself. That section of the skit focused on how strongly the life or death of a franchise relied on toy sales. Cartoons used to be nothing but vehicles for toy sales. It's not that showrunners and teams didn't write or create meaningful characters and stories, it's more that they were hamstrung by merchandising. New characters in He-Man, Transformers, or My Little Pony were an attempt to convince kids to drag their parents to the toy store now. Right now. My wife told me that an entire generation of beloved Transformers characters were culled in the 1980s theatrical movie as an executive mandate. We need room for the fresh round of bots to fill the shelves.
Cartoons can be given the axe for not selling enough toys or drawing in the right demographic for attempts to market and sell merchandise. Two recent examples, or rather speculative examples as to toys being a reason for shows getting the axe. Young Justice appealed to a much older and more mature demographic than intended. As a result, marketers were at a loss as to how to sell and market their series of pre-produced action figures intended for the 8 to 11 boy demographic. And there were originally rumors circulating about Cartoon Network canceling Genndy Tartakovsky's Symbionic Titan in 2011 for not being conducive to toy sales. Granted, again, there were other reasons beyond toy sales for both cartoons getting canceled, but if anything, I want to point out that it's still a relevant thing for cartoons to face pressure towards pushing toys.
It's sad that Hasbro's toy-first production plagued cartoons up until the 2010s, leading to rumors or cancellations like Young Justice's early run on Cartoon Network, or a contributing factor to the end of Symbionic Titan. While toy sales aren't the chief deciding factor anymore, many indie productions rely on merch sales as part of their income now. There's still a specter of character design choices or narrative turns made in hopes of pleasing fans and getting them to empty their wallet. The caveat is that at least with an indie production like Glitch and Digital Circus or their other productions, the lion's share of the merch follows or reflects in-show visuals and story beats. It's not cart before the horse, but a supplement.
Beyond H.A.T.E.R.'s commercial, the episode pushes this point further home when H.A.T.E.R. builds his own life-size version of the H.A.T.E.R.V. He flaunts and flexes, triumphantly shouts out the names of vehicle modes and features, and wrestles with the vehicle until it cooperates with him, because just like a real-life toy, some parts are quite flimsy and won't stay attached.
The skit is lovingly complimented by haters struggling to get certain finicky parts on the RV to work. The commercial promised this feature, so it should work. I can imagine plenty of parents growling at cheap, cost-cutting measures that led to a crying child.
Then, Dominator turns the tables on H.A.T.E.R. She cleans house and defeats H.A.T.E.R. and his army with the very vehicle he was hoping to impress her with. He's the lovesick, impressionable damsel that he portrayed Dominator as in his commercial. A fairly ironic twist. It's satisfying, expectation-breaking follow-up to the question, where is the Lord Lovesick plot going?
When H.A.T.E.R. lets Dominator take the H.A.T.E.R.V for a spin, and she understands its workings better than H.A.T.E.R. himself, it's a showcase for how ridiculous gender divides on toys are, period. H.A.T.E.R. is competent enough to build the H.A.T.E.R.V, like someone following a blueprint for IKEA furniture, but he isn't as function-minded as Dominator. She's an engineer that designs, builds, and understands how to troubleshoot. H.A.T.E.R. wants the spectacle, and Dominator marries spectacle with the practical approach to create something that both works and looks cool. Boys aren't automatically mechanically inclined, and girls aren't naturally maternal or nurturing.
The H.A.T.E.R.V is part of building up to and emphasizing how ridiculous it is for H.A.T.E.R. and Wander alike to focus on Dominator being a girl. From Wander wanting to play matchmaker, to H.A.T.E.R. entertaining marriage fantasies, a la The Date, to Sylvia fearing the consequences of a possible H.A.T.E.R. Dominator evil power couple. These definitely pose a gamut of interesting plot points and story threads, poking fun at societal expectations in regards to gender and cartoon tropes alike. H.A.T.E.R. is definitely Dominator's biggest competition, but he's losing now because he lost sight of his bigger goals to conquer the universe in a misguided chase for love. Consider the stereotype about gamers coveting and worshipping a rare gamer girl, or how a guy might bend over backwards to let a girl win because she's a girl. In short, compromising self and goals for the misguided hope to garner female attention and affection. And Wander automatically assumes that H.A.T.E.R. and Dominator are a good fit because of similar life goals, wardrobe, and attitude. Consider how some cartoons couple male characters with their female doppelgangers by default. Think early Mickey and Minnie Mouse, Donald and Daisy Duck, etc. Of the main cast, Peepers is the only one aware of both Dominator's true character and goals, as well as how futile and fruitless H.A.T.E.R.'s courtship attempts are. Now it's just a matter of time before everyone else wisens up and teams up to take her down.
Lord Dominator was deliberately designed in such a way that she's a deconstruction of earlier versions of love interest characters, like Minnie Mouse or Daisy Duck. This archetype in general is, she's a gender-flipped version of insert guy character here, with exaggerated feminine features, fashion, and mannerisms. Lord Dominator is not only introduced as the greater H.A.T.E.R., but her design reflects this. Her lava suit is tall and bulky with the rippling muscles H.A.T.E.R. wishes he had. The lightning bolt horns on her helmet are bigger than his. The suit's voice has a deep, intimidating baritone.
This is going to be
fun.
H.A.T.E.R. sees her as the I'm you but better rival, until the twist that it's a svelte, attractive woman under the armor. Not only that, but H.A.T.E.R. earmarks her as the classic gamer girl. Just because she has similar interests, goals, powers, and look, totally means she's his dream girl. H.A.T.E.R.'s reaction may play some part in why Dominator built and utilizes the armor in the first place. Unfortunately, men are seen as bigger, stronger, and more threatening by default. While H.A.T.E.R. and Wander are the most obvious examples of someone hyper-fixating on Dominator's gender, Emperor Awesome tried to make a move too. Almost everyone expects Dominator to submit, swoon, or be hiding some soft, gooey side. This is the core of her villain number, I'm the bad guy. It doesn't matter that she's a galaxy-destroying villain with lava-based superpowers. It takes a direct show of just how powerful, destructive, and sadistic she is. And even that isn't quite enough to dampen H.A.T.E.R.'s love-struck fantasies. He's very dense, and it takes a while to get through how dense he is.
Personally, I'm kinda hoping for an awesome Peepers and Sylvia team-up while H.A.T.E.R. and Wander have a heart-to-heart.
It's been over a decade since the H.A.T.E.R.V, and as counterintuitive as it is, I'd still love to have that toy. But more importantly, I appreciate what the team was trying to convey and think it still strikes a resonant enough chord in 2026 with the right context and history in mind. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a comment and like the video. Share it, tell your friends. If you like what I'm cooking up, subscribe, ring the bell, add me to your RSS reader. If you're in a decent position and can do so or want to, I'd seriously appreciate you checking out my Patreon. I upload all my videos there too, and even if you join for free, no ads.